And then the other thing I wanted to say before I get into a little bit of that timeline and those deaths that I've experienced and what's gone on in the last 9 months is to say, we say this all the time whenever we experience a physical death in our life of a loved one or somebody that we knew or whatever it might be. And we say, life is short. Live it to its fullest. Make sure that you squeeze and hug your family today. But why do we need death to tell us to do those kind of things? That's always what comes up for me whenever there is a death experience. And most notably, just in the last week, I had an uncle pass away. And that uncle, I was remembering back on him and his life and the memories that I had with him. And although there weren't many, because him and my aunts actually split when the kids were really young. So he was kind of around, but at a distance. So I didn't see him a lot growing up. But I do remember a lot of pieces of him. And I spoke about this in a video the other day where he was such a fun, patient, loving person. He was always somebody to say, I love you, before anybody else in our family was really open to doing so. He was always the uncle that, if he had some cool new tool, like a fishing rod, like back in like not even the mid 90s, in the 80s, when fishing rods came out that you could like touch from tip to tip, people might remember these. Like that was a big deal. Like that didn't exist before then. And I remember seeing my dad and my uncle like, yeah, let's check out this fishing rod. And I was like, cool, can I try? And they're like, sure. So I grabbed it and I snapped it in half because I didn't grab it by the ends. Of course, I grabbed it somewhere else. And I just remember thinking like, oh shit, he's going to freak out. And he never did. He actually just held space for me to say, it's okay. It's all right. You're safe here. Of course, he's upset. Broke his fishing rod. But I remember that. That's what came up for me, was this feeling of safety. And while it's such a small little thing, that is such a significant thing in a person's timeline. And sometimes it gets buried and we forget about it. But it's amazing how we attach to certain things, activities and memories in our past that ultimately define who we are now or who we think we're supposed to be, based on society's labels, based on your job title, based on the card you're carrying for the political party that you support. Whatever the case might be, your culture, your religion, your race, your sexual orientation, all of these things, these are all identities that ultimately are not real. Now, physically, we can see them, right? You can tell when a person has black colored skin and brown colored skin and white skin. You can tell, right? And we have choices on what identity we want to ultimately attach to, which tribe we want to be a part of to feel like we are inclusive and a part of something. But really, they're all make-believe labels that ultimately our 3D ego self wants, but our soul doesn't need to exist. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch the full unedited episode, go ahead and click over here. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me. Thanks so much.